Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
One of my earliest classes of physics, and my teacher, while defining what physics really meant, said that physics is nothing but, now this is a really important but over here. She said that physics is nothing but the study of all natural occurring phenomena and physical changes. Study of physics means study of all natural phenomena happening in and around you. Now, this has to be one of the most crisp definitions of physics, because that's exactly what physics is. Ever since times immemorial, have there been advancements in the field of physics. It started with the early Greeks, the ancient Greeks. It was pretty much prevalent in the Indus Valley civilization. It was seen in the building of the Great Pyramids of Giza. It was seen in the Mesopotamian civilization, all the early civilizations. Then we had a great Greek philosopher known as Aristotle, who made sincere advancements in the field of physics. However, it wasn't until one great person, who changed the entire dynamics of physics. And when he burst onto scene, physics was seen as an actual force to be reckoned with. He was none other than Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton made multiple advancements and contributions in the fields of maths and physics. He very famously discovered the binomial theorem. He gave brilliant contributions to the field of calculus. He discovered gravitation, the concepts of gravitations, and most importantly, he gave physics what we today know as dynamics, what causes change. And he gave his 3 laws of motions. Those 3 laws cover 60% of physics dynamics, by the way, and they are brilliant. The first law, ladies and gentlemen, focused on what also happens to be our today's topic, inertia. So, namaskar everyone, my name is Rudra Vinayak Bhatt and I am from grade 11.
Namaskar everyone, my name is Krishav Chana and I am from grade 11.
Now, let's imagine a situation over here. Now, you want to go out and play with your friends. You are in great hurry to go to the ground and reach the ground and just play. What happens is,
whoa, I lost my balance. This was because of constant motion. As I was moving forward, my whole body was in motion. But when I decided to stop, my lower body was at rest, but my upper body was still at motion. I lost my balance because of inertia of motion.
So what happened over here was that the inertia of motion actually disrupted the balance of Krishav's body. What resulted in that was that his body, the entire body earlier, had an original tendency to remain at motion. However, when his lower body, the limbs, when they came in direct contact of the floor and they stopped, they also caused his upper body to stop. But the upper body was resisting that change. Why was it resisting that change? Because of inertia. And this concept of inertia of motion and inertia of rest basically gave us Newton's first law of motion, which states that a body which is in motion continues to remain at motion, and a body at rest continues to remain at rest until an external force is applied on it. Now, Krishav wasn't rolling throughout, was he? He stopped after a slight stutter. Why was it? Because of an external force acting on him. Now, consider this to be a normal pendulum. One of the most famous exercises in physics is related to a pendulum. This can be seen in your grandfather clocks or the old pendulum clocks that are going around. Initially, no force is being applied on this ball, and this is stationary. Consider this point to be at the origin. Now, what if I give it a slight push? The ball continues to move. This ball has moved from the original position and it moved till the amplitude at both of the mean sides. Why was this happening? Initially, the body was at rest. It wasn't moving. However, as soon as I gave it a certain external force, it tended to break its inertia of rest and entered into an inertia of motion. Now, as the body was oscillating again and again, it wasn't as if I stopped applying the force and the body immediately stopped. No. Why? Again, inertia of motion. It continued to move until its entire energy was collapsed, until it became zero. And that again defines inertia of rest and inertia of motion. Now we've got these two balls, and now obviously one is a cricket ball, one is a football. Now which has a greater mass? the football has a greater mass. What if we provide almost the same amount of force to both of them? Now, it is very clearly seen that the Cosco ball went much ahead than the football. Why was it happening? There's another concept, ladies and gentlemen, which is known as moment of inertia, which depends upon the mass of the body. The mass of the football was largely concentrated at the center of mass, which is found at its geometrical center. Now, the same shape of this ball also has its center of mass at its geometrical center. But the mass concentration in this ball was much higher than the mass concentration of this ball. What did that lead to? It led to this ball resisting more amount of force and this ball resisting a much lesser amount of force. So when almost the same amount of forces were made on both the balls, that ball went much ahead and this ball stayed back. This was again because of inertia. Now, another really important daily life example which deals with stirring. We all stir something or the other. We stir. And now, right now, this is a sugar solution that Rishabh shall be stirring over here. I'll just stop it over there. Right. Now, despite him stopping to stir, there are still certain whirls that are existing in the liquid. If we stop it, the liquid is still in motion. Why is it still in motion? This happens because of inertia of rotation and inertia of motion working in tandem. Another example of inertia another form of inertia rather, is inertia of direction. Now, inertia of direction basically states that when a certain amount of force is applied on a body, then the body tends to move in that direction. Well, this also serves as the base of Newton's second law of motion, which states that rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the amount of force applied to it, and the momentum is changed in that direction, in the direction of the applied force. Now, everybody has ridden a bicycle, I suppose, right? Everybody rides a bicycle. So now, this is a wheel from the bicycle. Now, if you put a force over here, it starts to rotate. Now, two things to notice over here. Where was the force applied? Rishabh, can please apply it? Right. Now, just apply the force. Where did the body start rotating? It started to rotate in a clockwise torque that was provided. And it wasn't as if as soon as Rishabh just gave the force and removed the force, the body stopped to rotate. It didn't happen like that. It continued to remain in its direction of clockwise motion. Why was this happening? This was happening because of moment of inertia and inertia of direction, this time working in tandem. What if we change the direction of force applied? Now the wheel is still rotating, but now it is rotating in an anti-clockwise direction. And when it is rotating in an anti-clockwise direction, the torque was provided in this direction. And henceforth, like the wheel again, it doesn't stop rotating as soon as we withdraw the force. It will keep on rotating until an external force is acting on it. Inertia again. Now, what about this fan? Everybody uses a fan, right? Now, if this fan is switched on, then just realize how closely it is starting to move. Very closely it is starting to move. Why is that? Because initially the blades of the fan were at rest. And in order to move, they took a little bit of time to get free from the inertia of rest and eventually translated into inertia of motion. Now, can you please switch off the fan, please, over here? Thank you. Now realize how closely the fan is coming to standstill. It's not that immediately, as soon as the force was removed, the fan is coming to rest. Slowly and steadily at its own pace, it is breaking away from its inertia of motion and coming back to rest. And eventually, it will reach a standstill point. Again, an example of inertia. Now, you remember the boy who wanted to go out and play with his friends? Let us make him play for a little while. Now, can we continue? Okay. Now, Rishabh, when rotated the ball ideally had to go forward. What happened? Rishabh gave a rotational force to the ball, and the ball, after bouncing, retained its property of that rotation and bounced back rather than bouncing in front or coming to a standstill. Why did that happen? Again, because of the concepts of inertia and the inertia of motion coming into play. Now, we've got spinning of balls. We've got stirring of a mixture. You've got the bicycle wheel spinning. You've got a pendulum moving. You've got yourself moving. What other example do we need to understand inertia? It's such a beautiful concept. The entire science behind inertia, the entire science of physics, which, as my teacher rightly said, is nothing but the study of all natural phenomena occurring, is just so beautiful to understand. Because knowingly or unknowingly, ladies and gentlemen, we are students of physics, and we are practicing physics each and every day in our life, directly or indirectly. Thank you very much.